Oh, Nintendo. Oh, Nintendo, how you spoil us. As many of you know, on April 2nd, we're going to be getting a brand new Nintendo Switch 2 Direct. And that's only a few days from now, from when you're looking at this video being published for the first time. But Nintendo graced us with a brand new Nintendo Direct for the Switch 1. Why? Because there's 150 plus million consoles floating around out there, and a huge install base means a chance to sell a lot of video game copies. I know a lot of you out there are looking forward to Switch 2 news and what those games are going to be, but it doesn't mean there's going to be a lot of people that purchase a Switch this year and possibly next year or even the year after that, because Nintendo's probably going to support the system for the next couple of years. Now, they announced a lot of games for this Switch Nintendo Direct. And we're gonna go over some because there's a lot of games in here that I am 1000% not interested in. But there were some that actually piqued my interest, and an Impossible Port is actually among those. So let's start off right away with the Impossible Port, which is High on Life. High on Life was briefly mentioned, just kind of passed over because, of course, this game is rated M and extremely inappropriate for younger people. But it's coming to the Nintendo Switch. You can, it's action adventure comedy. It's got the voice of the guy who did like Rick and Morty, and the main gun, and then amongst others. And so, like, yeah, you could switch through, and you're a bounty hunter in the cosmos. And it's one of those games for the last generation that I was like always interested in, just based off of the character interactions and the humor in the title from what I've seen online. It actually looks really good. Now I'm assuming it's going to be a 720p 30 frames per second experience of High on Life, but it's going to be on the go, and one of those games that I just was never expecting to see on the Nintendo Switch. And here it is, High on Life. So yeah, a game that also piqued my interest in there was Gradius Origins, or Gradius Origins, according to the Nintendo Direct. But this is one of those games that I played way back on the NES days. One of my favorite all-time shoot 'em ups. And here we're getting like this huge bundle for it. You get 17 different versions of 6 arcade games. That's crazy, right? So it's Gradius, Salamander, Life Force, Gradius 2, Gradius 3, and Salamander 2. But then, in a surprise for anybody out there, there's actually going to be a new version, a new Salamander experience. So we're getting Salamander 3, which was announced. So it's nice to see a brand new entry into the Gradius series, which I haven't seen in quite a while. And it's definitely in that 16-bit art style, so it looks really cool. Hopefully the music is there to match. Those are some of my all-time favorite games playing growing up. So seeing this is nice. It's nice. Yeah. The next one is interesting to me. Not really so much to me, but more for a lot of people out there. Now, this is one of those classic DS games that was a surprise hit and has continued to keep its momentum over the years. We're getting a brand new Rhythm Heaven. Rhythm Heaven Groove is now expected to be released for the Nintendo Switch. So those of you out there who enjoy the Rhythm Heaven series, well, congratulations, you're getting a new one. And then we've got another one in that same vein, which is Patapon 1 and 2, which was like one of those classic games that I always associated with Sony, right? With Sony, and I think it's the PSP that it originally came out on. Correct me on that if I'm wrong. But that I saw 2 major Sony-owned games coming over to the Nintendo Switch. I wonder if Sony is doing the same thing as Microsoft as I predicted. Yes, of course they are. Sony owned Patapon is now on the Nintendo Switch. Now everybody's going to say it's just a small IP. It's kind of like an indie-ish type. It doesn't matter. It's not a main Sony franchise. It doesn't matter. You sound a lot like those Xbox fanboys when their games started cropping up on PS5 and those games started cropping up on Switch, and everybody was like, "No, it's not. It doesn't matter. Those aren't the main games." Well, Patapon 1 and 2 is now a Sony owned game, first party game on the Nintendo Switch. This is not Major League Baseball. This is a Sony-owned game. And speaking of Sony-owned games, the next one on the list is everybody's golf, Hot Shots. Hot Shots Golf, also another Sony-owned video game. Huh. 2 Sony first-party games coming over to Nintendo Switch. Isn't that interesting? All in one Nintendo Direct. Now Bandai Namco is going to be publishing this game, but it is a Sony property. It is a Sony Interactive Gaming owned property. Sony is now publishing games on other platforms, just like the new CEO said that was his vision. PC and platforms like that. So we're going to be seeing more and more of this. Mark my words, Sony is just 5 years behind what Microsoft is doing. But let's not make this more controversial than what it is, because of course the Sony ponies are going to say that doesn't matter, but you sound a lot like those Xbots 5 years ago when Minecraft and all these other Microsoft games started cropping up on the other platforms. Well, now you got 2 in one Nintendo Direct, 2 Sony games in one Nintendo Direct. But that brings me to a surprise. If anybody on the channel has actually watched some of our previous videos, we did an episode of our podcast where we called for the return of classic franchises. And in there, Chris, he didn't specifically say a franchise, but he mentioned those 2D Marvel side-scrolling. He mentioned Marvel Ultimate Alliance, but then we realized it came out on Switch, the latest one. But he did say, what about those 2D beat-em-up Marvel games? You know, like the X-Men, Children of the Atom type games. Those games. He said, I really miss those types of games. They should bring that franchise back, or that type of game back. Those 2D side-scroller Marvel games. And sure enough, we get a brand new entry in a side-scrolling 2D pixel art, or shaded, I guess, beat 'em up, and it's called Marvel Cosmic Invasions. And boy, does it look really, really fun. I love the art style. It's all animated. We see the X-Men in there. We see Spider-Man, and this is the team behind TMNT Shredder's Revenge, which got really good reviews and people really liked it. So now we're getting a brand new Marvel beat 'em up, and in that style, and man, it screams 90s X-Men. It screams 90s Spider-Man and all these other Marvel characters that are showing up. It's that classic design with that kind of art style. It looks really fun. And yeah, I'm very interested in Marvel Cosmic Invasions, and it's coming out on Switch. Then, of course, we're going to get into the heavy hitters, right? The heavy hitters of the program, of course, has to be Pokemon ZA, which now we know that's how you're going to be calling it. People were saying Z-A or Pokemon ZA. We didn't know. But yeah, Pokemon ZA is headed to the Switch, and it looks like it's like an open world with a giant city that you get to explore. You can go on rooftops. There's going to be a day and night mechanic to the game. It looks like the day is just like exploring, meeting characters, collecting Pokemon. And then at night, the city seems to turn into like tournament mode. And that's when all of the Pokemon trainers come out and they battle. And it's like a totally different experience to what you're getting during the daytime gameplay. I know Chris is a Pokemon fanatic, so he's probably going to be picking this up and be looking forward to hearing what his thoughts are on that game. Um, I don't know if I'll pick it up. You know, I'm not huge into the Pokemon games anymore, but it is out there. They announced a butt ton of games, guys. We're Tomodachi Live was like the last game. That's not gonna be something for me, but that was like a big seller last generation. So yeah, but the big game, of course, they actually didn't save for last, which was weird. They put it in the middle of the presentation, and I felt really bad for all of the games that had to come after this game. And of course, that game being Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. What they showed off looks absolutely beautiful. I mean, it graphics look great. This is one of those games that really had me questioning what was I looking at? Was this a Nintendo Switch 1 game? Now, again, this is probably going to be one of those games where the resolution varies from 1080p to, 640 depending on handheld mode and how you're playing it, and the frames we're yet to see, but it's probably going to be around 30 frames per second. But if there's one thing that we know is Nintendo knows art style. And boy, oh boy, the art style in this game really pushes what the Nintendo Switch is capable of visually. Retro Games looks like they're doing a phenomenal job with having the last few years working on the console with games like Donkey Kong. This allows them to get familiar with what the system can actually do and how to highlight things, and do little tricks and tips where the game just looks really good. I mean, I might be overstating it. I don't feel like I am. Maybe let me know in the comments below what you guys thought, but to me, those graphics looked better than anything I'd seen on the Switch. And honestly, it's like, wow, so there's still a little bit more that they can actually push out of this console. Everything that came after that was almost like a, wow, we got to see what we wanted, which was Metroid Prime 4. And again, they didn't give us a solid release date. And I think that's because we're going to get that solid release date, even though they said it's not going to be in the Switch 2 presentation. But we're probably going to get that solid release date after the Switch 2 presentation. We're going to know exactly when Metroid Prime 4 Beyond comes out. And I still think this game is going to be cross-platform. I still think we're going to get a Switch 2 version of that along with the Switch 1. So yeah, maybe that's what we're gonna get now. And then finally, they bring out Shigeru Miyamoto, whose hair is now graying, and he's looking a little bit more his age. And it's sad to see our heroes age, but it's gonna come for all of us, and I'm on that list as well. But we've been wondering, what has Shigeru Miyamoto been up to? And we all know Miyamoto likes to do things that are not how you say what you expect him to do. When you expect him to be working on Mario, Star Fox, Legend of Zelda, he invented Pikmin because he was playing in his garden. So what has Shigeru Miyamoto been up to? It's a brand new app, and it's called Nintendo Life, I believe. The Nintendo Life app. Let me make sure if that's right. And yeah, anyway, so it's basically Nintendo Direct, and it gives you a calendar. You can go download this right now, and it's going to be giving you messaging of upcoming games and release dates and everything directly onto your phone. So, I'm assuming this is a way for them to keep you notified of all the games. So when they do a Nintendo Direct like this, it's going to be like, hey, this game is out now. You can purchase it now in the eShop, or you can go pick it up. Which reminds me, eShop, nice little feature that was shown off that we've been begging for years. If you are a Nintendo platform person who purchases games on digital eShop, it's, you know, that those games are tied to your console, and they've been tied to your console since the Nintendo Wii all the way back in 2006. So for the last 20 years, Nintendo has locked your game to your console, not even to your your account. Well, it looks like they're finally going to let you not just move your games over with your account, but you can actually, this is really cool, share your games with other people. Your digital games will allow you, as long as you are in the same area for your first time connection. So this allows for them to avoid piracy issues, right? Because you can just log in from any device and download the games. No, what they want to know is, if you have your sister, your brother, your aunt, your best friend, your cousins, whatever, and they have a Switch, and you have a copy of Mario Odyssey or Raving Rabbids or whatever, you can now let them borrow your digital game. That's right. So basically, you get what they call a virtual game card. And with that virtual game card, it allows you, if you're in the same room, to link your systems wirelessly. And then you can transport your digital copy over from one console to another. You cannot play them both at the same time. You are literally, it'd be like giving them a physical copy to borrow. That copy is good for 14 days on the new console. So either your secondary console, or let's say you have a Switch OLED that you like to take portably and you have like a docked Switch at home, and you say, hey, I don't want to buy this game twice, right? You remove it from the Switch docked console, virtual game card into your new system, and take it with you. Then after 14 days, if you haven't switched it back, that game automatically leaves the system that you gave the card to, and it goes back onto your original console. It looks like a great idea. I like it, and it's a very Nintendo way of doing it, where it avoids piracy. It also avoids you having two copies of the game, and also from somebody else just keeping that game forever if you let them borrow it. This is like the ultimate way of borrowing a game, because I stopped lending people my games years ago when I let my friend borrow a copy of F-Zero GX on the GameCube, and it returned and the disc was trashed. And I was like, well, that's it. I'm everybody else from now on will pay for the sins of that person because they scratched up my game. So, yeah. Anyway, let me know what you guys think of this Nintendo Direct. To me, it was a really good Direct. And there are tons. Again, I encourage all of you out there to go check it out. There are tons of games that they showed off that aren't necessarily for me. Very much a lot of Japanese RPG type games and art style, and just not my style of gaming, but yeah, check out some, big ones that they push were like Shadow Labyrinth and No Sleep for Kaname Date and Raidu Remastered, a game I thought nobody needed, but there's a remaster to that. There's a lot of games. Go check it out. The Nintendo Direct is out now. And of course, I would love to know what you guys think. Are you guys going to be picking up any of these games? Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, are you bummed we didn't get a hard release date on that? Pokemon Legends ZA, are you picking that game up? And then finally, Marvel Cosmic Invasion. I really do want to know what you guys think of that. And, before I go, I gotta jab the Sony ponies one more time. 2 first-party Sony games are now being published on Nintendo Switch. That's right. They're just behind 5 years. Been saying it, and I will continue to scream it from the hilltops. I always want to thank you guys for joining us on the channel. Hit that like, share, and comment. And, if I've earned your subscription up till now, I really appreciate it if you sub, if you haven't. Yeah, and we'll catch you guys in the next video.